Hello, everyone. This is Curtis, and today we are at B&H at Ninth Avenue, New York, New York. Yes, we have all access today. We're going to look at some stuff that will have some audio. We're going to have some later videos on some video. We're going to have some later videos on some consumer videos, some photography. We're just going to go nuts today. So we're going to start today at portable audio. Now, if you look over to this case, we have a bunch of great, um, really great recorders. But over here we have our buddy, the Zoom 6-track H6, which is a wonderful accessory to have. There's also an F6, which is a field recorder. Um, those are more for if you have multiple people speaking, if you're doing like a movie shoot. Um, there is a way to go straight into the camera with wireless, which we will get to in a second. But if you were just doing a podcast or something like that, an H2, an H4, and H6, they would be perfect. They also have an XY mic pattern at the top. If you could look there, there's an XY mic pattern just up there, which is really nice. We're under a train track, so. Um, but yeah, so these are some really great options for you to have because you need to have recordings in the field. If you don't have a 60D like we have to go straight into, and you don't know the cabling to go into the DSLR, then it's going to be something like this. If we walk to the end here, there are a few USB microphones. Now, the basically top-rated microphone that everyone uses is the blue line right here. This is a blue Snowball starting here, which is the most price effective, and it'll get the job done. This is a Yeti USB microphone. It does have a headphone gain and an individual mute on it, which is great. And then you have the Blue Yeti X, which is a smaller, stripped-down version of the USB Yeti. And those are your top USB microphones for now. There's also an MXL Tempo, which will run you about $70. That one is also pretty good. When we get to the pure XLR audio, the MXL are actually a very cost-effective, large diaphragm microphone that a lot of people use for vocals nowadays. We have a good number of shotgun microphones. That is the best microphone for shooting on the go, shooting for a movie, or shooting like interviews. If you don't have an individual mic with a wireless mic system, which we have a few over here, but the Rodes are always, you can never go wrong with a Rode. They are fantastic, versatile microphones. And they can even get down to as small as that right there. And they all are very great. This is kind of overkill, but it's a stereo video mic X by Rode, which is really nice. And as you can see by the windscreen, it's very sturdy. It gives you a lot of options to deafen a lot of the ambient noise that's going around. As you can see over here, these are the windscreens that you would like. They're going to do the best for you when you are out almost anywhere, and will really give you an isolated sound. With that said, they are directional. They have a figure 8 pattern, and in order for you to get the most out of them, you will have to aim directly at your source. Now, above all of that, there is the Rode Blimp. And the Rode Blimp is it's the piece de resistance, if you will, of video microphones. It's my favorite. Everything that I have heard that has a really great quality from an interview standpoint does have that as another mic that you would set in between the two people who are speaking. Now, when you're not doing that, what we would do is have a lav. I'm a bit of a snob, and I really prefer the Sennheiser lavs. Now, if you look here, um, the lav and the receiver look very similar because the receiver takes in the signal and you can put it right on top of your camera, right up at the top, and with that, you can, even if you're doing an interview, mic that person individually, or you could put it on the podium where there are a bunch of microphones, and you can put yours under and pin it somewhere, and be done with it. Or if you had a set and forget rig that you needed for a gig, what you could do is set the camera and set the mic and make sure that it's on the stand, make sure it's on the podium where people are going to be speaking. Once you know everything is set and all you have to do is hit the record button, you can hit record and you can walk away. And it'll capture everything directly in. You can take the 3.5 out. There's a mini XLR that goes to a 3.5, and that will go right into the side of most of your standard DSLRs or mirrorless cameras. So that is great. There's also Sony's here. I have personally used the Samsungs, but there's all different types of variations of this specific type of microphone. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different lavs here. There's many types. So it really gives you the option to feel something out. If you don't like the sound of something and maybe you want to get a different EQ, maybe you want to get a different characteristic in your sound, you can really tailor that because there's so many different options when it comes to video if you're not in a super pro line camera at that point. So when you are in a studio setting, this is some of the gear that you are going to want to have. Now, if you look down here, I'm actually going to start with this, which is a Mackie DL16S, and that is a portable. That's a portable stage box, if you will, but it's also a tablet-controlled mixer. A lot of these are just regular mixers. This, we have two Zooms right here, which are really good for podcasting and things of that nature. The thing that I would say is, if you're in a studio setting, going straight into a Focusrite is great. It really does get the most out of it. Pulls things and gives you a lot of gain to work with. However, if you have someone like me, or you are yourself learning how to mix audio, a hybrid mix is, the way to go for me. There is a Yamaha. Oh yeah, that's right. This is a Yamaha 12, MG12, excuse me, and that is a lot like a Pro Effects 12. It's a lot like your standard 12 input boards. It has some onboard mixing. Onboard effects like reverb and chorus, and it is very, very nice to have in a musical setting, in a creative setting, because when you only have a Focusrite, for the price of a Focusrite, you get more channels. You also get an EQ, although it is 3 bands and kind of rudimentary, and also placed in places that aren't super helpful. The low end is right where you would want the punch of your kick. It's right where you would want the punch of your bass guitar. or an 808 if you're going into an 808. Um, but these are all of your mixers that give you a lot of versatility and could allow you to put 6 mics on the drums and then a DI from the guitar, DI from the bass, DI from the keys. It gives you a lot of options and gives you a lot of place to move. And speaking of moving, we are going to move over to the Shure and the Sennheiser. Now, these are all dynamic microphones, as well as this right here, which is the 58 Beta A, which is a wonderful microphone, but the piece de resistance, the Shure SM57. Okay, all your favorite drummers use them on their drums. All your favorite horn players use them on their horns. It's a great oh man, it's a great talk box microphone as well for the flat response. Now the flat frequency response allows you to be creative in your EQ, allows you to get the dry, very dry stems that you want, so that when things go into post production, if you're in a recording creative setting, it allows you that sound. From a vocal perspective, though, we have our 58 copy, which is just trying to be the Shure SM58, which out of all the microphones in this entire store, out of all the audio gear in this entire store, if I was stranded on a desert island, I would choose 357s, 258s, and go from there. But not to be outdone, like I said, Sennheiser is a fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another thing that I wanted to talk about. This is a small diaphragm condenser from Shure, which is right next to the Beta 57A, the Beta 58A, and the Beta 87A. All of these have a really crisp, bright high end. But the pencil condenser, the small diaphragm, is something that is commonly used on overheads for drums. I particularly don't. I don't like it. I don't think it's that good. That and ribbon microphones are the hot thing right now. AEAs are very, very big, but a lot of those microphones will run you $1,000. They do have in here, when we go into that room over there where the condensers are, there's a few Cascade ribbon microphones that'll just set you back a couple hundred, that are beautiful ribbon microphones, beautiful frequency response. But before we get to that, these are the Sennheiser line, kind of the response to the Shure just takeover that happened a while ago. Now there's an 835, there is an 850, 835S, and 845, a 935, a 945. So those have, I don't even know how to describe it. It's more of a darker color. It's more of a rich color on the high ends, although the frequency response is very flat in the high ends. The mid-range is so defined and interesting. A lot of people try to do too much with the microphones. Now, again, if you wanted something that was a 935 or a 945, their higher line. Oh, and we have to look at this guy, the MD421, which is just like another microphone that is a little pricier, but the Sennheisers really give you a different color, and I've never had people question it. I mean, we're using a Sennheiser right now. It sounds great. It's very sturdy. All of these microphones that I've showed you, that I've pointed out specifically, they all have completely metal casings and framing, so it's a very sturdy microphone. I've dropped this microphone God knows how many times, and it still works great. But if you are trying to get something that works every time, works on many, many things, the SM57 is the way to go from a creative standpoint. But from a speech standpoint, Shure has been tough to knock off for 50 years probably. And the Sennheiser are a wonderful choice. You don't have to spend $200 on the microphone. You could spend $100 on one of these microphones, and that will get you very, very, very far. So the last part of our dynamic microphones, after we just came from the SM57s, the Sennheiser 835s, 845s, 935s, we have the wireless systems, which are the wireless version of that. Like I said before, I have always used Sennheiser, but if you look, the Sennheisers, these wireless can be very expensive. And if you're gonna spend this much, I would always, always, always recommend the SM58 for people. The SM58 is a wonderful microphone for presenting, for political, for entertainment, for live sound, for podcast. It does anything with a voice that you would want it to do, and it allows you a lot of peace of mind to know that most of the time you will turn them on and they are going to react very well to the environment. There are a lot of also capsules for them that you can change it a little bit. But the SM57, I'm sorry, the SM58 is going to be what you would see in a lot of industry wireless, if it's not an Earthworks, actually. But the Earthworks is a much higher price point. Those are much more delicate microphones. They are a lot less forgiving when it comes to frequency response and your ability to work with them. The Shure is also very unforgiving, but the Earthworks, because of their price point, because of who they are and how they make their microphones, they are always thinking that the person using it knows what they're doing. So if you're going to spend more than this on a microphone, you should most likely call an engineer and get someone to engineer whatever you're doing, because it'll also take a little bit of responsibility off of you so that you can do more of the coordinating and performing whatever your role is at that point. Okay, so because this is a small space, we don't want to be in here too long. There are a few microphones I wanted to point out. Now, these are all large diaphragm condensers, all from Neumann. Neumann, you cannot go wrong with Neumann. However, these microphones will set you back anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. And again, if you're buying something like this, I would think that you were an engineer or you had an engineer to work it for you so you can get the best out of your microphone. Now, if you are new to mixing, if you are new to recording, if you want to be a recording engineer or you're messing around with music, there are MXLs, which are large diaphragm cardioid condensers, which are beautiful. They are anywhere from $100 to $200, as well as there are a line of AKGs that are very useful, also about $100 to $180. And those are awesome. You also have the Rode line of microphones. Now there are two microphones I want you to see, Ash. Specifically, there is this, which is an Avatone Pro, which is going to set you back about $500. Some people really, really like it. I personally don't, but it's a very useful microphone for a lot of people. Then we have our Rode NT1000, our Rode NT1A, and our Rode NT2A. Again, another extremely popular microphone, just a couple $100, a great large diaphragm condenser to get the job done on a few different levels. But my personal favorite out of everything here is right here. Our Electro Voice 320 variable. This will do great as a kick drum. It has great low end. It has great vocal qualities for radio, for vocals, for a lot of things. And then we have its big brother, the Electro Voice RE20. I'm sorry, this is an RE320, and this is the RE20, the next up in the line. And it is right next to the Shure SM7B, which is the famed microphone of so many people, Michael Jackson and many Quincy Jones, many people, and they're together for a reason. It's because they are the top that we currently have. These are three of my favorite microphones to use. The SM7B I don't love because it's a quiet microphone, but it does give you the most isolated sound. And then the shout out to Fontigolo, the Manly reference, okay? This microphone will set you back about $1,000. But the Manly reference is a beautiful microphone. Please do not blow it out. If you give it too much DBSPL, you could blow it out. It's a very delicate condenser microphone, but it's got such a full, beautiful, rich sound. So many colors within it. And the last thing is right here, the C414, a beautiful microphone in a single. But if you are an audio engineer, this is more for my pros. If you get these in a matched pair, they are beautiful on so many things. Beautiful on a piano. Beautiful double miking vocals. Double miking vocals and then blending them in post-production is also a very large it's a wave, if you will, of people doing that, and that would be a wonderful microphone for it. So coming full circle on our audio stuff, we stopped over at the mixers. We did a little bit of the recorders, and now we're getting into the audio interfaces. Now, these are the most popular audio interfaces. What they don't have right here is this is an Apollo Quad. Now, the Apollo Quad is, I mean, it's used a lot. It's used a lot. Everything, Childish Gambino, Young Thug, a lot of the Phil Collins stuff actually mixed on an Apollo Twin. A lot of the late Elton John stuff mixed on an Apollo Twin just because of his guy, who they are. Alex Toomey, Phineas is a huge person. Phineas is the head songwriter, and I believe he's the MD for Billie Eilish. He is a great audio engineer. There's, I mean, countless audio engineers that use this, and that is right above the Focusrite, which for the money, a lot of people have really enjoyed them. You can get 2 tracks for $230. You can get 4 tracks for $400, and there is all of the Jacob Collier stuff was done on the 12 input version of these interfaces. Yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, the Apollo Twin is so great that I personally am going to get one for my rig because it's something that you could put in a box and you can go and you have 4 really hot channels, really nice channels. There's effects in there. You can switch between your preamp and your monitor, so you know how loud your headphones are at a constant. You have the you have metering on it so that it's also showing you where the signal is coming in stereo both ways for all inputs. And I believe you could also switch them to outputs so you know what's going out. They have line and mic inputs in the back. They're a combined port. And also back there, you're going to find a optical drive, which is where you would hook into older things if you were going straight out of like a cassette or something like that. There's a few different ways that you would deal with signal flow, and if you're dealing with a cassette or anything that's old and you're trying to combine the old with the new, I would definitely consult an audio engineer, because that's what we do for a living, and we want to make sure that all of your things are getting through nice. There's no buzz, there's no interference that we wouldn't want. So these are really, really great for that. Even if you have a ton of outboard gear and you're bringing in a bunch of channels and summing them all into 2 channels, I've seen a lot of people go take all of that and put it right into a Focusrite and or an Apollo Twin, and it works amazingly. So for that, that about does it. There's a live sound room, but most of the live sound stuff that we needed was out here. Ash.Patances on Instagram. Citrus. No. No. Natalie B. NATALAY_B. Citrus Flow on Instagram. Aria Entertainment Co. on Instagram as well. And yeah, this is our first in B&H. We'll definitely come back and show you guys a little bit more, but we wanted to come through and show you there's a lot of really great audio gear that they have out, and there's a lot of stuff out that is like the most popular stuff, but they have a lot of stuff in the back as well. And yeah, we're very honored to step through here, and this was our first time here. So we got a lot of really good stuff, and I'm excited to explore some more. Thanks, guys. See you next time.